You saw what happened with Epstein. You get your hopes up and then all of a sudden, poof, everything disappears. All these things always come across and then they just disappear. And it's very frustrating for the American people. Epstein. Yeah, I mean, I just said Epstein. It's like, where did this guy go? Where did that whole case go? Where did all the files go? They just went nowhere? No one even believes that.
Well, last night, Jesse Watters hit the Trump administration for promising information on the Jeffrey Epstein case, only to completely U-turn. And he is not the only one on Fox News who is speaking out. But Cenk, Trump has upset his base before, but they always just come back with, oh, he's smarter than all of us. He knows what he's doing, and we're all too dumb to even imagine what he's really working on. And then the conspiracy theories come or they just stop talking about it like it never happened. So do you think, Cenk, that this is the start of a broader pushback against Trump, or is this gonna just fizzle out like it always does?
No, definitely the start of a bigger thing. So there's two different groups here, actually three different groups. So there's the Trump voters who are largely independents, they're not MAGA, and those guys are gone. We're gonna show you a whole bunch of podcasters like that in a second. And there's even more. We didn't get a chance to give you all of it. Like Andrew Schultz going nuts today. I'm done with him. This is everything that I was voting against. And then there's the hardcore MAGA guys. And then the third group is the MAGA influencers, right? So will the MAGA influencers go right back to Trump like Jesse Watters and Steve Bannon that you're gonna see in a second? Of course they will, right? Will he lose a lot of the independent voters? Yes, definitely. And has this actually cut into MAGA itself, the voters? Yes. Of all the things that have ever happened, this is the one they are the most mad about, and it's not close. If you're out there and people are telling you that MAGA's fake and in terms of their anger towards Epstein or whatever, they don't know what they're talking about. No, MAGA is furious about this, let alone the independent voters. So, but their influencers are a different story. But even, and then what I want to talk about, Yaz, after you show all the clips of them doing it, is why are they saying this when we know those particular guys are going to go back to Trump?
Yeah, and we do. We have a lot of clips, so let's hear it directly from them. So last night, Laura Ingraham had some very tepid criticism for Attorney General Pam Bondi. Here's that clip.
I think this all adds to the swirl of a bit of confusion about this and doubt. And again, the government only, I think, engenders trust among the American people with full transparency. So when Pam Bondi, and everyone knows how much I like Pam Bondi, I like her a lot. But when she says, well, those are basically never gonna see the light of day. Well, who, was it downloaded child porn? Or were there individuals engaged in acts with children? That's the question, I think. And unless either of you know what the definitive answer is, I don't know.
All right, so meanwhile on Newsmax, host Robb Schmitt stated that he does not believe Trump is in the Epstein files. Don't know how he knows that. Charlie Kirk agreed with that take, but he did have some criticism for the Trump administration. So let's watch.
We've known President Trump as a politician. We've known Donald Trump as a politician for almost 10 years now, right? And it's, the one thing that's been true this whole time is that he hasn't been beholden to anything. That's what's just so, appealing about him, is that he is what he is, and he's a flawed person, but nobody controls him. Nobody owns him. No special interest can control him. So in my mind, the first thing that I run to when I hear, and you're getting this from everybody in MAGA world. X is exploding with people very angry at the administration, very angry at the president. It's just like he's gone this far without being controlled by anything. To me, it seems almost surreal to believe that this man is now all of a sudden beholden to whatever it is that's trying to suppress a potential client list for Jeffrey Epstein. It just doesn't seem like he would do that.
And I have not engaged in that rhetoric, as you know, Rob. But I do want to be very clear that the transparency advocates that are younger in nature, they have been very confused. And it's left me a little profoundly confused by just some of the administration officials that told us that there was going to be this big reveal, Rob. And then we didn't quite get that. And then we're told that information doesn't exist.
All right, so now Newsmax host Robb Finnerty went further. He suggested that the Trump administration's investigation into former FBI Director James Comey and former CIA Director John Brennan is actually a smokescreen to distract from the Epstein files. So we're already like tiptoeing into conspiracy territory. Here's that clip.
Fast forward to tonight, and it brings us no joy to connect these dots, but it doesn't stop there. Suddenly, just hours after the Sunday night Epstein news dump, the Department of Justice, the same Department of Justice, announced they've opened up an investigation into former FBI Director James Comey and former CIA Director John Brennan. And normally we'd be excited about that news. We would welcome this news. These are two people we think should be held accountable. But the timing, it's almost like the Justice Department doesn't want us talking about Jeffrey Epstein anymore. At least that's what it feels like, doesn't it?
It does. And then we've got Tim Pool, who hammered the Trump administration for their inconsistent messaging around the issue. However, he is also stating that the Trump administration is being somehow manipulated by some higher power. And also the Democrats already hid all of the Epstein related evidence. So here's that clip.
The big point of the story is Trump saying, well, Joe, you're talking about this still. Why are you talking about it? Because you campaigned on releasing the files and you've been in office for a few months. So we're asking you, what's up?
That's the most evasive that I've seen the president.
Oh yeah, but you know what offends me the most? How bad they are at this. Yeah. That's what my only conclusion is. They're intentionally making it seem like a cover up, because how are they so bad? I talked to Mike Cernovich today because he's the one who blew this whole thing open, him in the Miami Herald. And he said that he thinks that there is some kind of, what did he call it? I think he called it a super system, I'm not sure. A system above the government that terrified Dan Bongino. He said he looked terrified in that interview when he said he killed himself. And like, he didn't seem like himself. I don't know. I trust Cash and Dan. Cash and Dan are being largely discredited as well as Pam Bondi. So I have no idea what this is or what's really going on. I think the best estimate, the best estimate is, I think Cernovich was saying this. What do you think they were doing the past several years? The reason there's no evidence is not that Pam and Cash and Dan are covering it up. It's that the Democrats covered it up a long time ago.
Okay, so last night, Republican Representative Tim Burchett also stated that the Biden administration buried the evidence. Last one.
I think the files existed at one time. I think they were destroyed in the previous administration. And I think if they'd ever had anything on Trump, it would have been out day one. Agreed. Under the Biden administration. And I think there's some very prominent people. There's Hollywood people, but I think there's world leaders too. And would it have caused economic disruption around the globe? Maybe, but I don't really care.
All right, so that's all I've got. Cenk, I think you have more, but like this almost feels lazy at this point, how everything is just always about Joe Biden. It always comes back to him. Joe Biden, who's currently just like sitting somewhere living his life, and he's getting blamed for all these things. But he's just an easy target or a fall guy for them, because if you just blame something on Joe Biden, then Trump supporters, they just accept that. They're like, yeah, probably sounds plausible. And then it's like they just stop listening or stop thinking. They just turn their brains off. They're like, oh no, probably Biden.
Yeah, so I figured out what they're gonna land on as the excuse, but I want you guys all to remember how much they were flailing before they came up with the excuse in the middle of the controversy. And I'm gonna tell you why all the hosts are even saying the things that they are against Trump. Because you saw there Jesse Waters, Laura Ingraham, I got Steve Bannon coming up, Glenn Beck coming up, And Robb Finnerty with his thing about, oh my God, the Justice Department is trying to distract us from the Epstein files. That's Trump's Justice Department that Newsmax is saying is pulling off a conspiracy to distract us. So these are wild times. And so, look, I said they'd break from Trump. I mean, this is pretty spectacular. If I had said that they were going to break this much with all the Fox hosts and the Newsmax hosts and Steve Bannon, et cetera, people would be like, you're crazy. Now, they already said I was crazy. I didn't even predict anything this large. And so, in terms of them scrambling back, guys, look, think about it this way, right? What's a reasonable expectation? Our reasonable expectation is that when people see this, a good number of Trump voters who are closer to the independents go, okay, I get it. Trump's a con man. He's just another one of these huckster politicians we've seen our whole life, etc. They're finally going to come to that realization, which is a very important realization, right? But if you're a Democrat and you knew how old Joe Biden was and how bad a shape he was in, would you have voted for Trump? You could be honest about that. So when you're asking MAGA guys to vote for Democrats or vote against Trump, that's a giant ask, right? That's not gonna happen in the first 6 months, no matter how mad they are at him about anything. But look at what's happening here, guys. You think the Fox News guys wanna speak out against him? Charlie Kirk wants to speak out against Trump? No, the actual voters are pushing them. Did you hear what Charlie Kirk said? The answer is always buried in their statements. Kirk said, well, there's a lot of these younger voters, they're very surprised. They don't know what's going on. Yeah, because the older voters got propaganda from Fox News and other outlets. And they're like, Donald Trump is the greatest no matter what, right? The younger voters are getting their information from online, and they're hearing Rogan, Andrew Schultz, and others going, hey, Theo Vaughn, Tim Dillon, us, whoever else going, I think he might be full of crap. And then Epstein thing happens, we're like, whoa, what is this? What is this? And they're not wedded, and they didn't get fully brainwashed. So they're like, yeah, I don't know about this, man. This isn't what I bargained for at all. So that's why Charlie Kirk and the others are in a panic. No. I mean, like, it's a problem, it's a problem. We acknowledge it's a problem. Otherwise, they're gonna get their heads taken off by their own audience. We showed it to you last night, but with Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro's audience is like eviscerating him for trying to make light of the Epstein thing. Go, oh, what's the big deal? It's not a big deal, right? No, it's a big deal. And the reason it's a big deal, guys, is because it's not just about Epstein, which is already bad enough. It's that, as they said there, they really thought that Donald Trump was different, that nobody owned him, nobody controlled him, that he wasn't the establishment, he wasn't a normal politician, he wasn't among the elites, and he was finally gonna hold the elites and the establishment accountable. And so when he comes in and does the same exact thing that they did, that's why they're crestfallen. And what's driving me crazy is that they don't remember he already had 4 years. He already had a first term, and he didn't release any of the Epstein files. And so now, finally, since we're running out of time here, I'll just give you the Steve Bannon one. He's livid too for a slightly different reason, but this is a lot of pressure now to release the files. Watch this one.
Have to go and demand. They have to go to the court and demand and unseal the sealed evidence in Epstein. It starts there. Then bundle everything together. You got sealed and unsealed, and release it all. Or, which I've called for yesterday, appoint a special. He should appoint a special prosecutor, special counsel now for the 2020 election and everything after that, and include Russiagate and all this. You have to do that. That should be done immediately, and that should report to the President of the United States. And also, they should do one if DOJ can't move off the dime, and the FBI can't move off the dime. There should be a special counsel to go through everything, and release it all.
If you said to me, Cenk, you think that a lot of Trump voters are going to break with Trump once they see the disaster of his administration, blah, blah, blah. Do you think Steve Bannon will be calling for a special prosecutor kind of against Donald Trump because he wouldn't release the Epstein files within 6 months of him taking office? I said, you're crazy, man. That's never going to happen. Right? There's plenty of nuance, and you can say, well, he threw in the Russia hoax, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, but you know what happened? Elon Musk said that Steve Bannon's in the files. So now Steve Bannon's like, wait a minute, I'm not in the files. Release the goddamn files. Oh, I like that strategy. Last thing, guys, which is what is the excuse they're gonna land on? So Alex Jones on day one, he was crying, sobbing, right? Like, oh, Trump, why did you do this, Trump? Day two, he's like, oh, I got it. Trump is trying to save us because the people that did these crimes are too big to jail. And if we expose who they are, the world economy will collapse. Oh, thank God Donald Trump is protecting these pedophiles. Oops. Okay, so that one didn't work at all. People are like, what? You want to protect the bankers and other people, the elites that raped underage girls because you think it'll hurt the economy? Nah. So now they're landing on the one they should have started with, but now you know it's a lie because they came up with it in the middle, which is, oh yeah. Biden ate my homework. Biden destroyed the files. Of course, the Democrats destroyed the files. Well, did they destroy them in Trump's first term? Oops, Trump never released them in his first term. Epstein died in Trump's first term, did nothing about it, and he released not a single name, didn't prosecute a single person in his first term, and he has declared definitively that they're not going to prosecute a single person who committed all those rapes of underage girls. So later, when they change their excuse to, oh, I meant Biden destroyed the evidence or Democrats destroyed the evidence, you know now it is 100% full of crap. No, Trump said definitively before they came up with that excuse, no, we are choosing not to prosecute a single person, and there is no client list. The absurdity of maybe those girls raped themselves. I mean, that's insane, totally insane. That's why even the MAGA voters are like, bridge too far. This is the exact opposite of what we voted for. Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.